Welcome to I Rock Business with Confidence, the podcast where passion meets profit without the pressure of a big price tag. I'm your host, Cori Fonville Foster, transformational speaker, certified business coach, trainer, and the CEO behind the mic. In every episode, we dive deep into the heart of entrepreneurship, bringing you stories, strategies, and tips to monetize your passions while maintaining your budget. Whether you're a budding entrepreneur or looking to scale up, this is your go-to resource for affordable sales and marketing strategies. Join us as we interview small business experts from around the globe, sharing their journeys, challenges, and the solutions that propelled them to success. I Rock Business with Confidence podcast is here to demystify the process of running a successful business on a budget. Get ready to transform your entrepreneurial dreams into reality, one episode at a time. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. We are so excited that you are joining us. This is one of our bonus episodes because throughout these next few episodes, we will be highlighting speakers from our upcoming Implementation Lab live happening October 18th and 19th. Today, I'm really excited because not only is this one of our speakers, but she's also one of my good friends, Melanie White. She'll be joining us today, and we're going to be diving into mindset, which is really the core of what it is to be a business owner. If you do not have mindset, you have nothing. So let me tell you a little bit about my good friend, Melanie. So again, today's guest is Melanie White, the founder and CEO of Sisyphus HR, a boutique consulting and coaching firm based in Atlanta, Georgia. Whoop, whoop. She has over 30 years of experience leading major, not minor, but major HR technology and transformation projects, right? So she's not new to this, she's true to this. And this is on a global scale. So these are global organizations. Melanie has earned the title of the HR Fixer. So I'm super excited that she's going to be here sprinkling some mindset and some HR, because you know most of us don't know nothing about no HR. So welcome, Melanie, to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Cori. I am so honored to be here. This is a joy for me. I enjoy sharing my knowledge, sharing my experience, sharing my expertise with people to help them understand, how their mindset impacts all of the areas of their lives.
Oh my gosh. And you're such an expert. Y'all don't know, but Melanie be getting me together. She be gathering me. So if you feel like she taking a little bit of your edges, just know it's in love. And if something starts to make you feel some type of way, it means it's time for you to tap in and fix it. Okay. All right. HR Fixer in the building. And at the upcoming Implementation Lab Live, her title of her session is called Unapologetic Clarity, the CEO Mindset Shift That Changes Everything. Right. I love that title. And so we are going to be unapologetic during this podcast. We're going to be authentic. We're going to be transparent. And we're going to get to talking about really how we can get our CEO mindsets in check to help really boost our revenue, our profitability, our sustainability, our scalability as business owners. So let's dive into it. Before we get into the deep stuff, we're going to let people have a chance to grab a little something to drink, get their notepad, their pen. We're going to start with talking about your story. And I'm actually interested in this because we haven't talked a lot about it. How did you get into business, especially when it comes to working with entrepreneurs?
Wow. So I got into business because I got laid off, and I was like, I can't do corporate another time. I have been literally in corporate America in HR for 30 years and have watched HR change, shift, transform, and been a part of that. I started my career when HR was managed on a clipboard, and a friend and I were just talking about that the day before yesterday, about how we passed that clipboard with paper back and forth to staff projects. And now HR has moved into AI, so it's in the cloud. And so this is just exciting for me. And I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but didn't quite know how to do it. I've worked for startups and companies like that. And so when this layoff came, and this was about a year and a half ago now, when it came, it was the perfect opportunity. I had been preparing in my mind, had been thinking about what I wanted to do. and figuring out what skills, talents, and abilities I had that I could share with the world. And so I am passionate about helping all people, especially entrepreneurs, really figure out how to value your skills, talents, and abilities and really leverage them in today's marketplace.
Oh my gosh. And we're so lucky to have you helping us do just that. And I think that if people are listening, I hope that they gathered that little bit about the fact that you were laid off, right? And you had left this world that you had, decades of experience in. And if other people are going through the same thing, they might be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? They might go into depression and sadness and all these things. But you took that opportunity, we're going to call it, right? That change in circumstance, and turned it into finding a gap in the market to really create something amazing to support other people. So sometimes we have to retrain our mind, right? We got to shift our mindset. That's the first mindset shift, to saying, okay, this is a little different than I thought it was going to be, but how do I take these, take lemons and make lemonade? And that's exactly what you did. You took some lemons, like, dang, okay, this is a shift in the market. I got to figure out something else. And then you made lemonade by creating this amazing HR and mindset firm. So kudos to you. So I do want to talk to you because you work with clients, and I know, over the years, you've seen how mindset really can cripple someone, especially as they're trying to start and grow a business. Can you share maybe one or two kind of common mindset kind of sticking points that you find people are kind of stuck at, and how do you help them get unstuck?
Absolutely. So let me start with the fact that these are mindset places where I was stuck too. And I think that is what makes me uniquely capable and experienced in being able to help people move through these mindset shifts, is because I've had to do it myself. And the first one is that the skills and talents and abilities that you have a value outside of your current job title. And that was a struggle for me, because I was a nice six-figure earner, not just, I had just come across the line. I had a nice salary. And so coming into the market where you're like, well, how does that translate? How do I really identify what my value is without a title? And that's a mindset shift that people get stuck in. They're like, well, I'm starting over. It's not over. It's reevaluating where you are, where you were, and what does that really, how can someone else value that? It's not the value that they paid you. It's the value that you can get somebody else to pay you for based on what you know. And so it's that shift. And so that is probably one of the biggest mindset shifts that I experience with people and walk them through, is how to assess your value regardless of what your title is.
Oh my gosh, that hit home. That hits home so much for me, because I definitely went through a change like that, where I was, this title at work, and when that job wasn't there, I was like, and who am I now? Right?
Yes.
Am I the mother? Am I the wife? Like, who am I now? And it took a while to kind of break through that mindset kind of sticking point of being like, okay, I'm not just my title. I'm not just a mom. I'm not just a wife. Heck, I'm not just an entrepreneur. I am a whole person living a whole experience. And I think that a lot of people listening could probably relate to that, because we all, especially Americans, like, we want to put a title on everything, right? It don't matter if you're a janitor. They like, okay, you're the lead cleaning technician, right? Everybody got a title, and it holds a status, but we have to realize, like, titles are cool, but they don't make or break us. And I think that that's something that you really support people through, is like, your title is not directly connected to your worth, right? Your self-worth, your sense of worth. And I think that that is so spot on. And we all need to really understand that and shift our mindset in that category. We're going to talk about another sticking point as well, because I'm sure you've experienced this working with entrepreneurs, that money mindset, right? That pricing mindset that a lot of us have, where we're pricing too low. We want to help everybody, so we don't want to charge anybody for our expertise. Have you experienced that working with your clients, and how do you help them kind of overcome those money mindset issues?
Well, it starts with, I have had some amazing coaches and amazing big sisters and leaders and mentors in the industry that have always talked about, whatever you think your value is, multiply that, because you're thinking too small. And I work very hard with my clients to expand upon their dreams and then help them see themselves in the dream, and then help them figure out what their value is. And it's not about what someone says that you're worth. It's about what someone is willing to pay you, as I said. And that takes it's a journey. One, to get your emotions in alignment, because as you mentioned, losing a job or having to make a pivot or starting new, there's a grieving. And that grieving has to happen. And for me, I don't want to stay in grief very long. I want to recognize it, deal with it, and then build on it. And I come from the biblical principle. And when you look at like someone like Lot or Job, whose lives were totally destroyed, and they have to build a life on top of that. That is what our careers and that is what our businesses are all about, building on top of whatever was left behind. And so in that concept, you've got to recognize that what people are willing to pay you is based upon all of the sum total of your experiences and where you've been, who you've been with, and then identifying how is that going to transform their situation. And so that transformation is the value. And that's where you start to identify, look, I'm bringing you a transformation that is 30 years in the making, with all types of certifications and experience and exposure. And then talking about what are you going to experience? And that's how you start bringing out that pricing. The pricing isn't based on my hourly rate. I don't work by the hour. I give an experience and a transformation. And that is what I coach my clients to talk with their people about. Yes, you may be selling this one pen, but what is the experience that this pen is going to bring to you? Are you going to write that, best-selling novel? And if you're going to write that best-selling novel with this pen, that pen may have only cost you 30 cents, but the experience that pen is bringing to other people is of value. And so you need to think about the value from the work that you're doing and what is that bringing to the client, and then multiplying that by whatever you think that you're worth. And that's a whole mindset shift as well. And I take people through that concept of what is your worth as a person to you, whether it's working or whatever, that has work. You have to establish that worth before you can assign value.
You better preach. She said, Lot, Job. Okay, take us to church. Look, I was like, what chapter is that in? Let's pass me my Bible. Okay, Melanie. I love those examples. And I think everything you said was spot on, because people always struggle, especially newer entrepreneurs, in those first, couple of years of business. They really struggle with pricing because they don't understand that it is about transformation. It is about experience. It's not just about what people think the value should be. It's like, no, if something's going to help somebody, move through a huge struggle, a challenge, something that's been keeping them up at night, then it is worth a nice investment, right? Not to mention all the years and trial and error that you had to go through to be able to teach whatever that topic is. And so, yes, I love that mindset shift around money, to understand your worth, understand the transformation and the value that you bring. So, look, we're going to go deeper. Is it okay if we go deeper, Melanie?
Let's go deeper.
Okay, let's go deeper. So, I'm a Black woman, you're a Black woman, and we be trying to do it all, right? I mean, we burning not both ends of the candles, but we burning that whole thing. I mean, we just lighting it on fire.
Well, first of all, we made the candle.
Oh, and we do. Mm-hmm. So we make it, we burn it, then we gather up what's left and make another one and burn that one too, right? We
exactly.
are all working. We're trying to be everything to everyone, and we be getting burnt out. Let's just call a spade a spade. Mm-hmm. So when people come to you and they have already done all the things, tried to be everybody's person, tried to solve everybody's problem, and they are burnt out, they toe up from the flow up, how do you help people rebuild themselves, set boundaries, and move forward in their businesses to avoid burnout in the future?
Well, let's start with the fact that I also am a certified yoga teacher. And okay. I was expertly trained by a teacher named Octavia Rahim here in Atlanta. And she has transitioned her yoga business into rest practice. And I have learned very specifically that we can't rise unless we rest. And we've got to be still. And so that's the first thing I do with all of my clients. We start by stopping, and we stop. Sometimes a lot of us highly driven, high powered women that function in this world, we don't know what stopping looks like. And we can't just stop all of a sudden, because that's what a crash is. We're not trying to crash. We have to learn to slow down before we stop. And in that process, that's part of the realization of what this journey is about. You got to start by stopping, and then from that place of stillness, then we can rise. I think about the poem by Maya Angelou that says, yet still I rise. And that poem, we think of it from the resilience of, yes, and even though everything has happened, I'm still rising. But I've taken that in a different perspective and say, still, I rise. I've got to be still. We've got to be still. And we've got to come to that place of stillness to figure out what the next thing is for us. And when we're still, and when we get to that place of stillness, that's when we can create everything, because your mind is clear when you're still. And when you're in that place of stillness, you can recognize what's the work that's for me to do and what's the stuff that I probably need to let go of. And that is a journey, because boundaries for all of us, especially for highly driven, high powered Black women, we don't often get to set our own boundaries because we're responsible for the world and all of the people that come into our purview. And with that, we've got to create our own boundaries of self-care, self-protection, safety. And in that is the first thing that we've got to do in order to even be able to value ourselves, is to take care of ourselves by creating that space and that peace and that rest.
Oh my gosh, that was a mic drop. I resonate with that myself. Just thinking, I'm like, I gotta do better. I gotta do better. Look, y'all don't know. Melanie be texting me like, sit down somewhere.
Yes, I do coach with love, but it is sometimes rough.
Yeah, and sometimes though, let's be honest, sometimes we need to hear it the raw, the real, the dirty way, right? I don't know about you guys, but people used to say, the Lord whispers to you, right? And some of us just hard-headed. We don't want to hear the whisper. So then when we hear the yell and somebody got to, give us a little pop, that's when we actually listen. And so before life knocks us down, I love that Melanie can be like, hey, boo, you go ahead, sit down now, take a break. Mm-hmm. Reset, relax, regroup, and you need somebody like that in your life. And I love that we have the HR Fix and the Mindset Guru that can really help us understand that we do need to have boundaries, right? We cannot pour from an empty cup. I know that's cliche, but it's true. And truthfully, we should be pouring from our overflow, but we can never get to the overflow state if we're constantly giving until there's nothing left. So I love that you talked about taking those moments to rest and really kind of reclaim your time, set those boundaries, and then move forward. Now, I want to get into the fact that at the upcoming Implementation Lab Live, again, happening October 18th and 19th, did I mention you can get a free ticket? Y'all better sign up now while there are seats available. You will be doing a session called Unapologetic Clarity, the CEO Mindset Shifts That Change Everything. Can you give us a little taste, a little sprinkle of what it is to be unapologetic with clarity, but also what is the CEO mindset?
Let me start with the CEO mindset and come back to the unapologetic clarity. So the CEO mindset is really recognizing that whether you're an entrepreneur of a business or really just the entrepreneur of your life, you're the CEO of it. And you need to really step into that place. And when you think about what does the CEO do? The CEO doesn't do everything. The CEO sets the vision and then displays the leadership characteristics that are going to get you to that new place. And as CEOs of our businesses and our lives, we've got to set the vision and carry that vision out. And one of the things that I had to learn through therapy, coaching, and many other different ways that I've had to invest in myself is recognizing that I can't do everything. I wasn't put here to do everything. And one of the skills that I have very, very strong is I am a good delegator. I have learned through my journey working in consulting that you have to delegate to achieve the goal. And a lot of times people that were on my teams would think that I was delegating because I didn't want to work. No, I'm just delegating so that I can do the work that I really need to do, which is to set the vision and identify what needs to come next, and really have the road cleared. Because as a leader, my job is to eliminate all the roadblocks. Well, in order to eliminate the roadblocks, I've got to have space to be able to clear that and do it. And that comes from a place of vulnerability and transparency, to really be clear about what am I good at and what am I not good at, and to create a support staff that really does help me do everything that needs to happen. For example, I as a person, I don't do well with numbers. Like, I have that form of dyslexia where numerical does not make sense to me. I will, even when doing my own phone number, if I have to type it out, I will type a seven instead of a 6 or something like that. Not because they're close to each other, but because I just mix up numbers. Well, I need to make money. I need my business to be profitable. I can't set a vision for that. Oh, I have to get that was the first hire I made in my business, was to make sure that I have a financial manager, that one that can handle the day-to-day bookkeeping and keep the business going, but can also help me figure out, okay, well, what is the strategy I need to do to get to this number? Because I can't do that. And from a leadership perspective, that's what we always have to do. It's arrogance to think that we can do and know everything. And as Black women, we've been taught that we have to do and know everything, but that's a trick. And we don't need to live by that anymore. And so that's the CEO mindset. Shifting to unapologetic leadership, it's when you operate in that CEO mindset, you're unapologetic about how you're doing what you're doing. And people may question the how and the why, but you've already got a plan, because you're unapologetic in how you need to execute that vision. I had an experience where, somebody showed up 7 minutes late for a meeting. I'm not catching you up, because this is my leadership train and I've got to execute the vision. You've got to be on board with that. And to be unapologetic about, one of my characteristics is I am on time. And when I'm not, I'm going to communicate why and what's going to happen, even if it's 2 or 3 minutes. When I go to the gym and I tell my trainer, hey, I'm going to be 5 minutes late, that is me being accountable for my time, my commitment, and being respectful of his time. And so I'm unapologetic, and I teach people within my programs how to be unapologetic too. But that requires that you got to be clear about who you are, what you bring to the table, and why it's important, and then require other people to value it in the same way.
Okay, now she said, create that vision, make it clear for folk, and delegate. And I think that delegation piece, if you're listening, I know she got you right there. You was like, dang, she talking to me. And is, because so many of us are trying to do it all. And we have people to delegate to, but we're still like, well, I can do it better. I can do it faster. I don't know if they can do it. I don't want to train them, or I don't know how to communicate this to them. And now we're losing time, we're losing money, we stressed out because we're not delegating, we're not behaving like the leader that we need to be. So I love that CEO mindset and being unapologetic with it. Before we go, I want to shout out Melanie, because she is giving our VIP attendees to the Implementation Lab Live, again happening October 18th and 19th, a VIP gift, the CEO Value Blueprint. Tell me a little bit about what that entails for the folks that are ready. They already got the registration open right now. They're ready to upgrade to VIP. What can they get with your VIP gift?
Wow. So I spent a lot of time thinking about how to help entrepreneurs figure out what their value is. And it's a series of questions and thought-provoking prompts to really start thinking about, what do you bring to the table? What is the information that really is unique to you? And it blends my consulting experience of always asking the next question, because you've got to continue to ask the questions to get to the true root of an answer. Because in order to build on something, you got to know what the foundation is. And so from that perspective, these questions, this book, this guide really will help entrepreneurs figure out, with those questions, where do I really stand with this? What do I know about myself? Why is that valuable? How does that translate into the market? And it will help elevate the mindset to really start quantifying what those skills are and how to put a numerical value with them.
Okay, look, that sounds amazing as a gift. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get me one. Look, I'm hosting it, but I'm gonna be up here grabbing these VIP gifts as well. So, guys, again, the general admission ticket to the Implementation Lab Live is free. So there is no reason why you shouldn't be live with us on October 18th and 19th. It's virtual. You can come in your pajamas. But if you are ready to upscale that business, if you're ready to do something new that you have not done before, get results that you have not gotten before, go ahead and upgrade to VIP, because all of our amazing speakers are donating a VIP gift to take you over to the next level of excellence within your business. So definitely go ahead and grab your ticket. We are excited to see you there. And Melanie, before we go, let the folks know, even though they should be at the Implementation Lab Live, if they don't go, how can they connect with you?
They can connect with me by going to my website, which is www.sisyphushr.com. That is SISYPHUSHR.com. And there are many ways you can download my Unapologetic Leadership ebook. You could just send me a quick message and say you want to connect. There are just multiple ways to reach me. And you can go ahead and schedule a time to just chat if you want to. I am on this mission to make sure that people get what they need so they can rise to that next level.
Well, thank you so much, Melanie, for being on the podcast. Thank you so much for being one of our amazing speakers at the upcoming Implementation Lab Live, again, happening October 18th and 19th. We are so blessed to have you in the building, giving us your knowledge, your expertise, and getting us straight, getting us together so that we can be the best leaders and CEOs that we can. Guys, thank you for watching this episode. Remember, we have some more bonus episodes dropping every single day this week. So tune in so you can see what the other speakers are talking about. And then until next time, remember, I rock, you rock, we all rock, and we'll talk to you soon.
And that's a wrap on another episode of I Rock Business with Confidence podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining our journey into the world of entrepreneurship. If today's episode inspired you or just gave you the tools to tackle your next business challenge, we'd love your support. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, and rate us with a glowing 5 stars. And don't forget to leave us a review. Are you an entrepreneur with a unique perspective, expertise, or actionable strategies that our audience can implement today to advance their entrepreneurial journey? We're always on the lookout for guests who are ready to share their stories and insights. If that's you, please reach out to us. Remember, entrepreneurship isn't just about the destination, it's about the journey. And here at I Rock Business with Confidence, we're here to journey with you. Until next time, keep rocking your business with confidence. We can't wait to see where your entrepreneurship journey takes you next.